Yeah, I got like 3 times assassination threats, and the mob at the starting day of my opening of job, and then the first day when I entered my office, all my colleagues refused recognizing me and working with me. Province, nearly 60% of it, and the territory under the control of Taliban, well, 20 years as well. A city where women hardly walk, women hardly present in public places, and working in such a community where mostly women subjected from home to the grave, and you can't see them publicly. It was like hard. It was challengeful, as well, dealing with all of insecurity cases around yourself. It was really hard, but I love every moment I spent there because it was always so beautiful while seeing these all challenges and then tackling all the challenges around you. It was always so beautiful. So walking in a city where mostly men in the city are not listening to their wives, to their mothers, but they have to listen to you because you are implementing law on them. So it was always so beautiful. I really love my working period during the 3 years in that city.
And how did you come to be mayor there? Because, I mean, young and female is already atypical of the political elite in Afghanistan. Were you from a family or a situation that had been sort of moving in political circles beforehand?
Not at all. I'm from a family where mostly girls and women are doctors, teachers, like uh, the position I hold, it was like something new direction, totally from the beginning of my family. But I love to do something so big to change something in core, especially when it comes to women and believe on women's power, on women's ability. And that was something that I thought it's the best to walk the path. So I decided to go for it. But for starting, it was not a decision. It was just like a try. I wanted to just give a try if I could. And then I realized that it's a big amount of men trying to break me down by putting just some labels with my name, and then I realized that they are competing me with a very negative way, not with their pen and papers and their knowledge. So then I thought it's the best place to prove yourself, and more importantly, to prove women of that country to that they are able to take any kind of responsibility and move forward.
So it was quite hard for you to take up the job. An extremist mob barred you from your office, and male staff walked out, and assassins tried to kill you 6 times, I believe. Tell me about some of those times.
Yeah, I got like 3 times assassination threats, and the mob at the starting day of my opening of job, and then the first day when I entered my office, all my colleagues refused recognizing me and working with me. But beside all of that, I worked 3 years in that office. I worked so closely with all community members, with all men and women. I was someone who was able to heal that office as a mayor, which was like really hard to manage everything, and same time, despite all the security challenges too. It was just possible by the faith that I had that I had on myself and my abilities. And more importantly, it was for me not just doing a municipality office. It was more like proving women and their abilities to community. So that was like kind of courage, which was I believe, which was given to me by entire woman population of that country, and I was like healing that responsibility.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it wasn't, of course, wasn't just you who was targeted. I mean, your father was murdered in Afghanistan. How do you have courage to go on doing work like that, doing the sort of work you were doing after an experience like that?
Because I knew it. They killed my dad to stop me, to silence my voice, to stop my dad's belief, the path he was walking all 37 years, and the path that he taught us as his children to walk for his country and his pupil and to serve it. So that's why I knew it. If I am going to give up, they are going to be succeed, and I didn't want them to be successful on the aim that they wanted. It
Mm.
was so hard. It was always so. It is still so hard. While I'm talking about my dad, I'm really hardly stopping my tears, controlling my emotions, because I feel his empty space in my life always. But but it have been always so beautiful, because I was walking his path, and I every day, every week, every month, spending that period, I was feeling him too much close with me, and I'm still feeling he's just around me. So because I believe I'm doing what he wanted me, and I'm sure that he will be so proud seeing his children still walking his path. So
Mm.
uh, that's like, just not giving up for the beliefs that you are following.
Tell me about last summer then and the return of the Taliban. I mean, was it? I mean, did you know straight away that you were going to have to flee?
Not at all. For me, the moment Taliban were in city, I was in my office till the last seconds of everything in Kabul. So for me, it was not just the moment having a thought of fleeing, because I was able, if it was me personally, I was able to flee the country more before than that. But the moment I realized that everything is gone, I was more worried about my family, about my sisters, my younger brothers, and my mom, which was a big part of my responsibility nowadays. So in that time, so that was the thing. And then I realized that I need to shift them to a safe shelter. And after some time, I realized after 2, 3 days of Kabul takeover by Taliban, I realized that I need to put myself to take my family into the safety at the front line. So then I did that. I tried to, just for once, entire my working life, I put my family more before than anything else. Anything else, maybe myself too. So I tried to accomplish my personal responsibility toward my family.
Mm.
That was the reason. And then until the last moments of fleeing out, I was just taking care of my responsibility. And the last seconds, I realized that I'm also leaving. So that was the terrible experience that
Yeah. No.
that can't speak about it like by words, but trust me, it was like more harder than anything you can believe.
Tell me about how you actually got out. I believe you hid in the footwell of a car to get through checkpoints. Is that right?
Yeah, for my family, it was like because they were not so familiar, so it was okay. But yeah, for me, it was like everyone was so afraid, and I had a. For me, it was like I don't want to be killed or kidnapped or arrested or tortured or whatever is happening to me in front of my family. So I had to be so careful about like keeping myself safe, as well to protect my family on that few days,
Mm.
and especially while trying to get to airport. It was so hard standing next to airport, next to that gate where a few days later there was a big attack. It was the same gate where I was standing, and then the firings, the amount of people shouting for just and begging for just getting into the airport for their safety of lives. It was like terrible. And then there were everyone, the moment I was taking my family, and there were so many people asking me to get them as well. And this was the first ever time someone is asking me something and I wasn't able to at least give a try. So that was a terrible experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. You recently made the decision, nonetheless, to return to Afghanistan, if only temporarily. Tell me about that decision and what that was like.
The first day that the night when we boarded the plane, that was the time I promised myself I'm returning back soon. So as I told you, coming out was my personal responsibility toward my family, but my national responsibility toward my people and country, that was the thing that took me back and drove me through going back and with like I needed to be there, not only that personal feeling and emotions, but to show, and to see whatever is happening around, and to witness whatever is happening around. And I believe I was working in municipality office not for a government, for a system. I was working for my people and for my country. And now also the people and country are still there. So working for them is the only thing, I always believe. So that's why I returned back, and I'm also out because of my book and film and the schedule I have. As soon as I could get done of that, I'm returning back home, because I never left my country forever. So it's not like, for me, it's my home. It's where I belong to. I can go and live however and whenever it's possible. And when it comes to the being afraid of whatever is happening around, or if anything happens, I was not afraid where millions of people were still afraid. Tens of people were still afraid of working in a place where I was working. So for me, risking my life is not new thing. And I believe that risking your life for something which really matters is the beautiful thing that a human being can do, maybe in a position where nothing else is possible.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean that forthcoming, it's a Netflix documentary, In Her Hands, which features you as well, as you mentioned. Before I let you go, tell me what do you see the near future involving for Afghanistan? What happens for the country?
For now, unfortunately, Afghanistan is totally out of discussion. Afghanistan is totally out of dialogue and international level of decision making or dialogues around the world. So bad things are happening in the country. Most recently, yesterday, we have been through this badly attack on Hazara community in west of Kabul, where educational center was attacked, and dozens of children have lost their lives. So that's the thing that's happening all the time. And the closure of school for girls is more critical thing happening around the world. And the way the world is threatening and doing that double policy toward my country is really bad, and it's really pinning. So looking at this situation, I'm really like worried about my country. But when it comes to the future, longer future, I'm really hopeful, because I trust my generation. I trust the voices we have, and I trust that the courage of facing all the problems or difficulties. Like example, today there was tens of women once again on the streets and demonstrating against all these bad things, especially whatever happened yesterday with dozens of children dying for just being in classroom. So I believe this is like coming all the time on the street. Talking about your rights and fighting for your rights is something that makes you more faithful on future, and I'm really positive on that.